Hello, everyone. I am Love Davis from lovedavis.com, and I am your business success coach and strategist for this tutorial. This tutorial is for dominating your copy in Pinterest. Sorry, I keep opening up stuff. Here we go. So this is all about copywriting and how to dominate it across your social media campaigns. Part of the reason why we might not have success in our business is because we are not getting our message across to our ideal target market. And those were issues that I struggled with as well. And honestly, it took me a while to figure out like what things work, what words work, and things like that. And so it can be a very frustrating scenario for new business owners. And so I wanted to make sure that I gave you a tutorial for copywriting and kind of what goes in each piece of copy that you're going to use across your social media to engage, entertain, and of course, educate your ideal target market. And then from there, you'll be able to bring them into purchasing products from you. But, we definitely don't want to always say, hey, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. I need you to buy my stuff. We also want to engage, entertain, and that should be our first course of business anyway. That should always be our first objective and goal, is to engage, entertain, and get to know our target market and not just go out and try to sell everything. So I created this and I actually got a lot of it from a infographic that I used on Pinterest. So I just want to say a little bit. I was never a Pinterest fan until recently, until I sat down and realized how efficient it is for me doing research with different products and services. And as I work with clients and trying to help them propel their business, I realized how valuable Pinterest is for innovation and idea creation. So Pinterest is like this fun place. It helps to boost all of the creativity that you have, even when you're stuck. Sometimes you can look at a visual. It's a very visual social media tool, and it is a way for people to share your content and your information when they find it necessary and as they see fit, which is also a good thing. So you're not pushing them to help share your information or even asking them. At that point, you're just kind of getting it out there, and you'll get a vibe of what people like and kind of what they don't like, and allow you to tweak your things. So Pinterest is what we're going to call your visual marketing, and it's literally visual marketing at its best. And it's a low-key, self-paced way to reach people and to get the word out about your business and your brand. But again, it takes it's kind of a slow, self-paced thing. So it's not something that's just going to outright jump there. But again, any lead to your business and a way for you to engage with your customer is what is going to be important. So I wanted to I have another Pinterest marketing tool that I'm going to use, but I wanted to make sure that I focused on this particular one with copywriting. So we'll start with what we use. Now, the objective of this particular mini course is that we want you to hit the mark and engage your customers with the right copy. So it's what you're literally saying about your business. So not even so much as we want the visual to tell a story, but we also want to make sure the words are telling the story as well. Okay. So let's start with email copy. Again, I took a large infographic, which I'll show you at the end, and I broke it down into pieces just because I thought that it was such a valuable tool. So I did not create this infographic on my own. I borrowed it from Pinterest, and I just wanted to share with you because it was so on point that it was no reason for me to go around and recreate the wheel. So I literally picked it apart, kind of edited it, and then, made it my own. So the first thing we'll talk about is email. Email marketing is still very viable. It is an up and down business, but it is still very viable. And what you want to make sure is that you are enticing your audience with your words. You are impactful. You are action oriented. You're concise with what you're saying. You're very clear. And you're using high impact words. So let me give you an example. High impact words. Let's say you're tapping into someone who's frustrated, which is what I started with, women kind of who were frustrated in their lives and wanted to start that business. And so what were the high impact words for me? Some of it could have been, you've had enough. Never again do you want to be in this position again. Do you feel like what you're doing is pointless? Is there a temporary fix? Are you tired? Right? Those were high impact words. But then if you wanted to break frustration down even more and use powerlessness words, you could use words like agony, floundering, helpless, paralyzed, surrender. Like things like that are words that kind of attract someone's emotions. And that was important. And then from there, you kind of go through ways that you can help in that. Remember, everything in marketing is identifying a pain point and working with that person from that pain point to work and bring them out of that. So, the two things that are extremely important is that you have a call to action, tell them you want them to do something. And the second thing would be that you have compelling imagery. So call to action, you want them to go to your website, or you want them to join your list, or you want them to go to your Facebook page, but you want them to do something. Then we've got LinkedIn. LinkedIn is all about being very personable, being professional, and being concise. So LinkedIn is a way for you to build slow one-on-one professional relationships and to listen. So whenever you're sharing information, you want to make sure that there's links, and then you want to engage people by asking questions. I will never forget the first time I put a real question out on LinkedIn. It was, why do you think that women are fearful in starting their businesses when they've been in their jobs for very long? And so since I am a Generation X expert, that was what my target market is, and that is who my target market is, and that was what I focused on. I got 2,400 responses just from that question alone, and that was enough to send people who joined my Facebook group, people who were contacting me just to have a one-on-one coaching session. Like that led to a few doors, and that's what you want to do. And it also helped me build my LinkedIn professional network. So then we've got email newsletters. So we're not going to say that there is the death of the email newsletter, because there are still very viable, businesses that use email newsletters. So you got like the email marketing kind of, whether or not it is you can do a newsletter that you send about that's longer, of course, than what your email might be about. So even in your newsletter, make sure that it's divided into sections, that there's not a lot of words. You kind of want it to be short sections and sentences, and then make sure there's a call to action in between. So you don't just want to have one call to action. You want to make sure that it's in different places, and then make sure that the information is personable and that you're being personable within it. So when someone's reading a newsletter, you want to almost feel like that person is standing in front of you and giving you a full on conversation. Like you want to make sure, like that conversation, they're talking to you, you're responding, and that's how it should go. It should definitely be informative, and educational, and again, impactful and non-salesy. Your call to action will be your sales point. You don't want to say, hey, buy my link. Just, maybe if there's more information you want to learn, let's set up some time and talk and see how I can help you. Don't make it so salesy. Make sure it's definitely non-salesy. So that's what you would look like with your email newsletter. And then, of course, you've got Pinterest. Now, I will say this. I'm working on a Pinterest marketing course on its own, only because there's a little bit more that you have to embed into your Pinterest copy. And so one thing is that it's very contextual, it's very friendly, and very descriptive. Whoever did this infographic was amazing with the visuals. So it wasn't like there's a lot of copy. It's just so that I can look at this and understand exactly what I need to do with Pinterest. Again, making sure you have a great headline and a call to action at the bottom is everything. And it needs to be descriptive. Instagram is all about the visuals. Again, it's a visual marketing tool. So using your hashtags, make sure, now I wouldn't say so much short, but make sure it's not like paragraph long. So it's short. You want to make sure that you are putting in your links, do bit.ly links, make sure that it's contextual, and go ahead and put the geotagging on. Make sure that you're tagging your location. Instagram marketing will be also, again, a separate course, but I just wanted to peek in on what you need to start your Instagram stuff. So make sure your graphic is very visual. Make sure what you're writing about it is short, and make sure that it fits into somebody's everyday life and their pain points. So even if it's fashion, or if it's how you're feeling for the day. I know a lot of us put mood, like that's like the thing, especially for a Gen Xer. It's like, this is what my current mood is. And for us, it's about being able to relate to the brand. And part of that is just in that short little text and being able to say it, and people are gravitating towards it, and it's very emotional for them. So very contextual. Twitter is a way for you to speak and say the things that make you who you are. So Twitter kind of is like the way that you can say it, and people will read through your words and get to know who you are. So again, we're up to 140 characters, right? We want it to be friendly. We want it to be personable, and we want it to be part of our personality so that people retweet and share our information. Because when they retweet, people will look on our pages and they start adding us to lists and, you're the know-how person for this particular topic. So your Twitter copy should be on point. I always tweet in the first thing in the morning. I try to get things out in the day and I try to tweet at night, but there's also times that Twitter is important. And, when we do what we call a mini Twitter course, we'll talk about all the things that you kind of should and shouldn't say within Twitter. But as being personable doesn't mean like using profanity, just making sure that you're not calling people out too much, just your own kind of funny way on how things are done and how you relate to it. Like, how does this thing that's happening in the world relate to my brand? And I understand where my customers are and how they're feeling about it, or my ideal target market if you don't have customers yet. So being friendly and personable on Twitter is everything, because you want that shareable content. You want that to be part of your marketing objectives. You want to make sure that people are sharing your content. So, almost like the do's and don'ts of Twitter. Then we've got Facebook. Facebook is a whole separate social media beast of its own. And so making your content shareable is important. Making sure that it's action oriented and making sure that it's conversational, right? So you want to ask questions. I love to like this picture if you agree. Like, so if the picture is telling the whole visual story and there's not a lot of copy, just like it if you agree with it, right? Your images are very important. Your links, videos are the number one thing that's shared amongst Gen Xers on Facebook. So just being able to make good video and being able to get your point across in 30 seconds, like 30 seconds to a minute and 30 seconds is generally as long as the video needs to be. And then, maybe sometimes using emoticons, they can get a little tricky because some people don't understand how to relate to them and how to, what they're saying. So emoticons can be extremely controversial to some people. And then blogging. So with blogging, even a little bit with Twitter, you kind of want to write it down. What are you building your story around? So if there's a concept or an event or something, you're building your story around it. You want to make sure the story has a little bit of your personality. You want to make sure it's engaging, again, using those high impact words. And you want to make sure you have an opinion about it. And it should be your truthful opinion. Right? So you want to maybe link to your other posts, important, use keywords and ask questions. And it doesn't need to be too long. People read blogs within 5 minutes. They want to get the information. They want to move on. They're not going to stay on your blog post for the next 20 minutes. Some blog posts are extremely too long. And then lastly, you have website copy. So website copy is a whole different beast, but your website copy should be informative. It should state what you do. It should be shareable. There should be links. You should ask a question and then kind of maybe even put out there how you can help solve the question. It needs to be clear. It needs to be consistent. And that's probably going to be the toughest one. There needs to be features, benefits, and experiences. So your web copy needs to be everything. It needs to really be everything. So I would write it out and then go back and look at some high impact words and then decide, maybe even have a second person look at it like, okay, if you're reading this, tell me what you feel when you read it. Again, having your call to actions. You love what I'm doing. Click on the list. Let me send you some more information. So this was the original infographic that I found on Pinterest, which I loved. The whole thing is not on here because it was huge. But again, see how it is. I broke it down only because I just felt like that graphic alone caught my attention and it gave me all of the bits and pieces. So making sure you know how to do infographics is going to be everything. So I want to say thank you for investing in yourself, taking this little short copywriting mini course, just listening to it. And there will be a workbook to download with it so that you can get to work on some of these things on your own and figure out what you want to say and how you want to get out there in your brand. So don't forget to go to the Facebook group, join the Entrepreneur Incubator, where you'll get all of these little videos, workbooks, and tips to propel you forward, just in case you can't afford to work with a coach, or just right now you might not have the time and you're trying to figure out where you fit in. So you can always email me at success@lovedavis.com or follow me on Instagram or Twitter at SheetGirlLove. And I will see you soon in a future course. Have a great day. And again, thank you so much for investing in yourself. I am signing off. I'll see you later.